It's been a while.
We're back.
Mike, did you notice CJ has a new camera and a new camera angle?
Oh, nice.
You see?
Do you like it, Mike?
I like seeing 80% of the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I don't like, I've noticed like in meetings and stuff, like if I'm like playing with my hands, it like looks a little odd. Mm-hmm. I'll work on it.
So is this a separate camera or is this part of your thing?
This was the camera that I used to like shoot most of my stuff. And like I started doing video work. And then I didn't use it pretty much at all in the pandemic. And then now I'm at a point where I'm editing full time. So I don't need to use it for like outside reasons. So
He's just trying to show us up. I mean, let's be honest. He has
I love it.
His
eyes are really
camera.
popping in this camera. Look at that. Come on.
Thanks. Thought, hey, why not? Time to upgrade, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Good, man.
Yeah. Love the angle too. Love the angle. You're there, but you're not really, you can't be bothered looking directly at us.
Yeah.
Give it just another 30 seconds. Very excited to have Amos on tonight. It's been a while. The pandemic, Key and Mutlu came on. I feel like we did like a 2.5 hour podcast once.
None of the podcasts we did before we were vaccinated should be alive. They should all
Is that the mark?
thrown away.
Does that include just during COVID or just anything pre-vaccination, like the full 8 years?
I could be convinced of all of it.
Okay, here we go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. MortgageCS, the official mortgage broker of the Ricky. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. Trade in your Ben Simmons jersey at their tap room for a $25 gift card until February 28th. So what is that? Maybe Monday? I think that's Monday. So that is Stateside Vodka, statesidevodka.com. On the show today, the All-Star break is over. James Harden is now on the Sixers, and it's time to go win the Eastern Conference. The Sixers signed a backup center that may have been a plan that fell through. You never know. And two old friends join us. One, Tony to Tony, one of the hosts of the Hoagie Hour podcast, and his renowned singer-songwriter friend, Amos Lee. They join us. Amos will talk about his new album, Dreamland, and Tony has a story and a song. It's all going to be very good. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is the real kid from Akron. Everybody knows it, Mike Levin.
You know, I noticed that watching the intro song and the video, you see Hollis in there, and he did just get passed by Joel Embiid for, I think, 9th all time
for Sixers career three.
For Sixers career 3-point makes, and I would say several thousand people reached out to me about it, and I want to thank each of them individually.
Really lets
you know crazy that Hollis was that high on the list for not being here that long, but I love it. And he's still top 10, and it's great. God bless him.
It really lets you know you've done a good job branding. Well, you've done a job branding. If
I've done a job.
If that resonates the way that it does.
Korkmaz and Embiid are pretty close to passing Lou Williams for like, so he's going to keep climbing that list. It's pretty exciting.
I actually haven't. And who is one?
Iverson,
right.
Covington is 2.
Oh, right. I did know that. I did. Of course, I knew that. Of course I did. Before we get to Willie Cauley-Stein, it was Embiid has made now 5 all-star teams, but watching him on this one with his son there and him truly embracing it and, like looking completely different and I think being accepted in a different way somehow was just nice to see him out there. It's not the first time we've seen him out there, but it was really nice to see him be just fucking being an all-star and marching his son around and being
especially
MVP.
the son thing is cool because we've never seen him before, I don't think. And him, he was born during the pandemic and hasn't been around much, and it seemed like it was just cool to see him as a dad. I think, we talk about how unlikely it was that Embiid got this good, stayed healthy long enough to get this good. And part of it is, and part of why I think Sixers fans love him so much is like how much he's overcome on a personal and professional level. And to just see him like as a fifth straight all-star starter, where he's, owning the court basically for a large part of the game around all these other incredible players and showing up as a dad and like being so like looking like genuinely happy with his kid and like chatting up other players, holding his kid. It's just like, I'm just really happy for the guy. And the kid's name is Arthur, and that's obviously the name of his brother who died. It's just like, there's, I think we talk a lot about the context for the process and why it mattered. And why it was good and why we were right. But I think, especially with Embiid, you got to remind people like why he's so special and like what it took for him to get here. And I just love the guy. I love him so much. And it would have been cool if he won All-Star MVP. I think he probably would have if his team won.
Yeah, Steph grabbed that by the horns.
Yeah, I mean, hell, it was a fun game. I love Elam ending. I think it's totally great. I think people act confused about it, despite the fact that that's how every single pickup game ever is played.
Right, you play up to a cerern number.
That's feels how it insane. Is. It feels like I'm losing my mind. No one else. Everyone's like, well, I don't know if this can work. It's like it works all the time. I'm playing tomorrow night. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it then. It feels very bizarre. And it's just better. The game doesn't slow down so much. It ramps up, in fact. Like, the ending is more exciting as opposed to, like, the off chance that it doesn't take, like, 17 minutes to get through, like, a minute and a half of gameplay for fouls and stuff. Anyway.
I think particularly for the All-Star game it works. Definitely.
For the All-Star game it works. I do think it would probably work better for most games. I think they should try it in games that matter. Like, when they do a mid-season tournament and be like, okay, we're going to try this thing. I think Elam ending for that would be cool. But I think ultimately it might be better for everything. I'm not like 100% sure, and I think it does ruin some sense of a buzzer beater to end a game as the clock ticks down and everything. But then every possession could be the game-winning possession rather than just the other one. I think it'd be different, but I do think it might be better just to avoid the like drawn-out length of how many games end in a torturous way. But yeah, Embiid was awesome. He's the man. We also didn't talk about that Milwaukee win, which we don't have to spend much time on it, but it was a great win. That was an excellent win. It
was a week ago.
I know, but I had a great time. I had a blast doing it. And Joel 42, 14, and 5, while Giannis is out there playing free safety, watching his boys get just absolutely owned. It was awesome. Maxey, 10 for 10 from the line. George Niang, 5 of 10 from 3 because Harden told him to. Like, that was cool.
Coach Harden.
Coach Harden, absolutely.
I love Harden is in the it's the amazing honeymoon phase right
now.
Yeah.
I think we might be the whole season of that, but I don't mind it. Honeymoons are good.
Coach Harden, everyone's learning from him. He travels even though he's not playing with the game. It's the greatest time. It's the greatest time, right? It's all hope. That's all it is. For sure. So Harden, not the biggest addition to the Philadelphia 76ers. I have to ask you, because it can't be. Willie Cauley-Stein cannot be who Daryl Morey was hitting as the buyout, as Willie Cauley-Stein had not been on a team for over a month, and they signed him for a 10-day.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
I think especially as it went on for longer, it became kind of clear that something was up.
Right.
I was guessing that it was Derek Favors.
I saw some people guessing that.
Now, I'm even maybe more certain that it was Derek Favors because he was talking about how, hey, it's taking a long time and it should have happened already. And I think that's part of OKC's thing is they don't really buy guys out. That's sort of a renowned thing of them. They treat their players well, but they don't just give guys away for nothing. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe part of that was what was going on with Favors, and they ended up deciding they couldn't come to an agreement or something, and it just didn't work out. But I didn't think the way he was talking about it was I didn't think it was Robin Lopez, because I think if it was Robin Lopez, he would have been but he's fun. He would have given something about how weird he is. There was one other guy that I was considering it maybe being. I wanted it to be Marcus Hull, but I guess he's not coming back this season. But I think Willie Cauley-Stein is the kind of player that is what they were thinking about replacing Drummond with, where it's at his best, he rebounds, he rolls for lobs, he's super athletic, he's in his athletic prime, he's 27, 28.
Yep.
He protects the rim. That is theoretically what he knows how to do. But
the best version of him is awesome.
Yeah, it's always been fine. It's
Yeah.
always been he's big, he's thicker than Nerlens is, but he's not nearly the defensive savant that Nerlens is. They obviously came out pretty close together. Both went to Kentucky. He's just a guy that look, he didn't work out with Luka for a couple years, and they just let him go. I'm not convinced he's going to work with Harden. If him and Luka have a similar type of game, a rolling big should work with them. But it seems like he's a guy that just doesn't want to do the very few things that is being asked of him. That's so much of just being a rim rolling center in this league is not doing stuff. Mm-hmm. It's don't try to do other stuff. Don't try to gamble out of position on defense, and don't try to freestyle on offense and do other stuff. He has some of that Andre Drummond, weird passes, occasional bizarre dribbles and stuff into him. But I personally, I don't love the signing. It's a 10-day, so whatever, right? It's a 10-day, right?
Yep, it's a 10-day.
So I don't mind trying it out. I'm worried that this is the kind of signing that Doc is going to be great, that's our guy. But they have so many backup centers in this roster right now. And I'd personally rather be let's use the last 25 games, whatever it is, to be let's see if we can graduate Charles Bassey or B-Ball Paul out of their youth and
let's
inexperience.
See if Millsap's not cooked.
And let's see if Millsap's not cooked. I think that with those three guys, you have enough of options. Millsap's shot looks pretty decent right now. He didn't shoot well in Brooklyn, but it looks like an easy shot, and as he's going to be wide open, just knock those down. I think that's a decent look. B-Ball Paul's obviously going to be weird. Bassey profiles as the type of rim running center that Willie Cauley-Stein is, but I think a little bit more disciplined at his best, although he's still young, so he's still making mistakes. But so I'm a little bit bleh at this. And if they were going to do this kind of thing, I would have rather them traded one of B-Ball Paul or Charles Bassey for a backup point guard or a young point guard that they could develop that profiles as a decent backup. They just need another guy to beat someone off the dribble. And I think having so many backup fives, even in a decent two-way wing, even Charlie Brown Jr. types, if you can throw in there and see if you can catch lightning in a bottle on defense or off the catch or something. It just seems like it's too many bigs in a situation where as everybody knows, if Embiid's not there, they're probably not winning anything anyway if he gets hurt or something.
Right,
So
and in the playoffs, he's going to play 38 minutes and all that kind of stuff. And Willie Cauley-Stein is, if Drummond is a guy that I will immediately talk myself out of, Willie Cauley-Stein fits the profile of a guy that I will immediately talk myself into, because I've seen so little of him. I only have an idea of what he is. Mm-hmm. So I could talk myself into, hey, look, if he just wants to get himself a contract and does what he's supposed to do here, especially with Harden, he'll be great. He's athletic. He has a hyphen in his name. Everything's gonna work out. But obviously there's something else going on there, which is why he hasn't stuck anywhere. So I'm all in to see it. The thing that I think you have to remember, though, with buyout guys, because I saw some complaints about this guy or that guy, is they have to want to come here. Yeah. Like, they can go wherever they want, and everybody's offering the same money. So a lot of times these guys look at opportunity for minutes, particularly, or who they're going to be playing with, or so on and so forth, and that's how they choose it. So it's not like they have their pick of anybody. Those players have to want to come there. So I would have been nice to get Dragic. Of course, I would have loved to have Dragic, even a cooked Dragic. I'll take a chance that he can play 20 games. Sure. But my guess is Dragic just wanted to go to Brooklyn.
It seems just as it's insane to me that we have so many backup centers that sort of do the same thing. None of them are crazy dynamic with the ball in their hands at this point. It's insane to me that Brooklyn has so many point guards who can't defend and are mostly slow. Like, that's a lot of point guards that can't defend. Kyrie, Seth, Patty Mills, Cam Thomas is basically a point guard because he can't cover anybody bigger than him. Now Dragic, that's just like a lot. I don't know how many times they're going to play like more than one of them at a time. It seems. I thought it was crazy that they're playing Patty Mills and Seth together because it's such a porous backcourt. But if us six Sixers centers against 6 Brooklyn point guards.
Point guards, right?
Okay.
If you got a dog and you don't have a big Barker dog bed, you can't be a true Ricky listener. You're not a good dog parent. Simply, that's how it goes. BigBarker.com/Ricky is where you go to get a Big Barker dog bed. Big Barker's been with us for like 3 years now, I think. Mm-hmm. Sold hundreds of beds. They actually, Eric from Big Barker, I think, said something in Philly Mag about wanting to be the next Kornblau or something that he said in there. Anyway, Big Barker, it's not just a dog bed that you see in the store. Those are not real beds that you see at PetSmart or something for $39. Those are fluffy. They look comfortable, but you wouldn't want to sleep on one. Pillows look comfortable. You don't want to sleep on a pillow. You need something supportive, and that's what Big Barker does. And that's why if you don't get a Big Barker, you're not a good dog parent. BigBarker.com/Ricky. Go to the Process Pup section of RightsRickySanchez.com. You'll see all of the Process Pups lined up there. You see the supportive mattress. It's different. It's just different. You can feel it. It's just made different. PenVet proved it. A higher quality of life, less pain, less arthritis, better joint mobility, joint flexion. I don't know what the joint stiffness, reduction in joint stiffness. There it is. If you go to BigBarker.com/Ricky, you get the Big Barker dog bed. You also get the Process Pup patches, so you can throw one there on it. Take a picture, send us the photo, and we'll put your dog in the gallery. Dogs develop arthritis, especially big ones. Up to 80% of them develop arthritis as they age. This will keep your dog's joints feeling good. Young, old, small, big, whatever. There's tiny ones, big ones, all sorts of Big Barkers. 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. 1 year at-home trial. If you don't like it, your dog doesn't like it, they give you full refund and pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. Woof. So we might have a banning on our hands here. Can I play a piece of audio for you?
Sure.
Do you mind? Okay, so this comes from the podcast In the Green Room with Danny Green, featuring Danny Green and some other guy. So first it's the other guy talking. So here we go.
Much better now in those corners because he has James. Daryl Morey hopped on the Sixers podcast and talked, and he tried to get to the point where I think he was illustrating how important you are now, how much better he expects you to perform because you are a function of the offense.
Hopped on a Sixers podcast. talked about how important Danny Green's going to be in this offense. Do we ban the other guy? Do we ban Danny Green by association?
I don't think we can ban Danny.
No.
I don't think so.
Then we can't give out the Danny Award if we ban Danny.
That's right.
Ban the other guy?
Sure.
Okay. Other guy from the green room, you're fucking banned. So a couple of quotes from Danny. Other guy says, on March 10th, Ben Simmons can potentially return to the Wells Fargo Center as a member of the Brooklyn Nets, and he can play against you. When the game is over, are you shaking hands? First, let's break this down, Green says. Interesting dynamic of how things went down. Interesting dynamic of who went with him. I haven't had a chance to talk to those guys yet, but they weren't on the most cordial of terms when he was in Philly. So I wonder what the relationship is now. Now, will we shake hands to start? Probably not. First, I'd be highly surprised if he even plays in the game. I don't know where his health is mentally, physically. I know he had other issues. We all know he doesn't like to play in Philly. If he does play in that game, I'd be highly surprised. But say that does happen. I see it as being a very hectic playoff-like atmosphere environment where it might be very rough for him. I don't have any ill will toward the guy. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. It's just, for me, it's whatever. I waste more energy going out of my way to dislike him or spend energy trying to go out of my way to hate him or do things to him. If he comes up and shows love, I'll say what's up. That's the type of deal I'm on. I'm not the type of guy to not go say what's up.
Yeah, I think there'll probably be before a game, if it happens wherever in Brooklyn or in Philly, kind of a couple butt slaps here or there. I could see Embiid not just avoiding, and they just don't do it. So I think at this point, I think Embiid is the one that holds the biggest grudge against him, rightfully so.
And Harris is the guy that goes up and says hi, right?
Yeah, before a game, I don't know if that much communication. Probably just a quick fist pounder, slap on the back or something. I think Danny would do that too. Matisse obviously gonna give him a big kiss. But after a game, I could see them talking to a couple guys. I think it's mostly going to be nothing, but I think there will be some detectiving looking at. Looking at where's Embiid, where's Ben, are they looking at each other, are they seeing each other, or is there a walk by, those kinds of things.
CJ, get the screenshots ready for that one. That'll be a necessary video one, I think. Yeah, I think so. And I also think that there's no chance of him playing in that March 10th game. That seems unlikely. Ramona Shelburne said that it's going to be weeks, not months. There's only 7 weeks left in the season. There aren't even actually months left in the season. I don't know. You see the video of him shooting for him with Kyle Korver today?
Oh, that was Korver?
Yeah.
I don't think I realized. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be doing stuff. I'm mostly just excited to not have to care about it anymore and to just move on. I don't know if he's going to play. I think he's going to play soon. I think it would be quite a statement to not play. There's no good outcome there. I think the best outcome for him is to play, rip the Band-Aid, and play pretty well, obviously.
That would have been the way to do it 5 months ago.
Obviously, that would be good.
Yeah.
But if he plays again, I'm talking about against the Sixers, just to rip the Band-Aid off rather than because if he doesn't play against the Sixers on March 10th, then okay, when are you playing?
Right.
The odds of there being a playoff series this year are kind of high, matchup wise. I think the odds of it being a 3-6 Sixers Nets that looks, I would say, pretty good at this point. Although the Nets have a little ground to make up, you expect that once Durant comes back, they'll win some games again.
And everybody's so bunched up, it could be anything. It could be 4-5, it could be 2-7.
For sure. And I'm just sort of I think there's a magnetic polarity for it to be a Sixers Nets series. I think it just should happen and just feels right. So if he doesn't play during the regular season, it's only going to get worse if you keep waiting. So I would probably expect a Band-Aid to be ripped, but also maybe just keep it going and there's a sore hamstring or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I don't think he's playing here. But you keep saying you don't have to care about it anymore. I cannot not care. I can't turn it off that quickly. It would be going further than is true for me to say that I'm not fixated on it, and I don't. But I do care what happens. I will care for the foreseeable future. It would be, this is, I think, one of the most landmark things that's ever happened in Philadelphia sports. It's hard for me, especially also with it's a specifically weird situation for me, given that my radio station now airs Brooklyn Nets games and I'm in the market where he went to. And maybe that's why it's even more for me, because I work with Nets fans now. Like the 2 of the 6 in the entire world work at WFAN. So the hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week is brought to you by Stateside Vodka. Speaking of Ben Simmons, if you have a Ben Simmons jersey, you bring it over to Stateside, the tasting room, anywhere over at Stateside, they'll give you a $25 gift card to trade it in.
Great deal. And the Sixers should also be doing this deal, by the way. The Sixers should say, if you want,
should give people vodka.
Bring a set. Absolutely. But they should be saying, bring your Ben Simmons. Any player that was like traded or is no longer there, if there's a Butler, if there's a whatever it is, if you wanted to change it, we'll give you like $25 off of a different jersey that you can get, an Embiid or a Harden or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Seems like it's only good business idea.
I think so. The hard to stomach YouTube. Anyway, statesidevodka.com. This comes from Just Chill 76. Mike's face when Daryl was explaining NFTs. I felt like it was that scene in Step Brothers where Seth Rogen interviews them for a job and he's all on board with everything they're doing until they let out a huge fart, and it just changes how he sees everything up until this point. Like Mike was thinking, we are so lucky to have this guy as our GM. Look at what he's done. Insert NFT chat. Okay, now I'm wondering if you've tanked our organization.
I mean, look,
he was so bad at it.
He was really, and admittedly, he said he was terrible at it. The idea that there's like not a club online that you don't have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars for is wild. We're in like a fucking Sixers club, and it doesn't cost any money to do it. You just like hang out and you just tweet stuff, and you can be a fan of the team or whatever. It's just this idea that like it has to be you have to. The only way for it to have value is for you to get other people in. Like it's obviously a grift. And I'm not saying you can't make money off of it, but you're making money at other people's expense, and it just feels it's not a fun club. What are you doing in the club? Exchanging bad art. Like, what are we doing? Look, everyone makes money, go make money, whatever. I don't give a shit. But like, it sucks. It's stupid. And stop trying to convince me that it's cool, because it isn't.
I just think I could explain it better than he could. I was just stunned. As he was missing explaining it. Love Daryl. Thank you for coming on. So many people said to us it was a great episode, and I think Daryl came off great. I thought it was a fun episode. Just thank you for all the feedback, and appreciate Daryl obviously spending so much time with us.
The best.
All that said, when he couldn't explain it, I thought to myself, oh shit, maybe Daryl doesn't understand NFTs. Like maybe he's a fake smart guy.
Maybe. I think it's the idea of like, do you believe in like owning anything? Yeah, owning a car. I like owning a car. I don't, at least. But like the idea of having a car is you have a car that you can drive and use it. If you say, hey, do you like owning a car? And then you just like, it's just, you can just say it's yours and never use it. That seems insane to me. But I get people do that with like really nice fancy cars, but at least they can like whip off the whatever cover thing and be like, look at my fancy car. How about this? It's in my garage. I keep this car in my garage. Not like, here's a gif of a car that other people have. I don't understand it. But
the blockchain, I don't care. It's decentralized.
I don't care.
Before we get to Amos, let's do a couple of mailbag questions. Write strickysanchez@gmail.com. Write strickysanchez@gmail.com. Remember to send us one basketball, one non-basketball. This comes from Jack. Spike and Mike, great pod with Daryl. To follow up on that, number one, Daryl said explicitly that he thought the rest of the year was the most important year for the Embiid-Harden partnership. Wanted to get your thoughts as to why you think he believes that. Would seem to me next year would be more important, given that Daryl and company will have an entire offseason to try and right-size the Sixers' ancillary parts. What are your and Mike's thoughts on this? I want to just add on to what he said. There was the thing about we thought Harden was opting in, and then he quote-unquote missed the deadline, so he did not opt in. So I think that's notable with this. Why do you think he said it was this year, not next year?
I mean, I think if he said next year is more important, then it'd be like, does he mean he doesn't care about this year, or is he punting on this season? I just think it's just like every year is the most important year. And that's why trading a 2022 first round pick costs more than trading a 2027 first round pick. I think it's just every year they're both healthy now. They're both playing, or I guess Harden's reasonably healthy. Embiid's playing the best level of his career. Harden still has. I'm interested to see how much better Harden gets now that he's like at a place where he will have to do less theoretically, and he forced his way to be here specifically. I'm interested to see it.
Saw a picture of him looking skinny.
Love it.
Yep.
Love the skinny look.
Love it. Yep.
Love proving like all this weight, all this like pouchiness. It's fake.
Total fake.
No one's ever in bad shape.
He's already proven he can do that.
Absolutely.
And non-basketball, now that you both live outside the greater Philadelphia area, what's the specific sandwich / meal / food that you miss the most?
They have it sometimes. They have it some places, but I miss a very good Philadelphia soft pretzel, especially one sold on the side of the road that guys are peeing on. Something just tastes better about soft pretzel with the faint whiff of piss.
When I would go to see my grandparents in the Northeast and we would get off of the Cottman Avenue exit, there would always be that guy there selling them right there.
I had those exact same pretzels from my grandmom, rest in peace.
And I rest in peace, your grandmom. I'd also love to give credit to the Aramark pretzels that they have in suites at all of the stadiums. They're fucking awesome. Those are good Aramark pretzels. I think, what is the specific sandwich, meal, food that you miss the most? I miss... it's not
I also
food,
miss
though.
the ease of a Wawa is always great.
Yeah, we have them here. You're missing them. I am not missing them. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. If I come up with it later, I'll mention it. This comes from Charlie. Kind of non-basketball question. We just signed another Paul, who's the older alternate universe power forward to our own Paul. So may we now refer to Millsap as basketball Paul, the more refined, sophisticated version of B-ball Paul.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
That is good. Basketball question. Who plays more minutes this postseason if healthy? B-ball Paul or basketball Paul?
I think almost certainly basketball Paul.
You think?
Yeah, I think obviously you trust the jumper from Millsap more. I think I think Paul Reed is a better defensive player, even with the mistakes that he'll make as a young guy that's kind of chaotic. Because I think he can cover the perimeter, he can recover and get like blocks from behind his length. I mean, he's just like an excellent like natural defensive player. But I think Doc's just not going to trust him. I just don't see it. I don't see him try. I think that's probably why they got Willie Cauley-Stein, because it's like don't see them trusting him. I think I don't know why you wouldn't like just show B-ball Paul like Willie Cauley-Stein tape or like Tyson Chandler tape and go like, offensively, this is what you do. This is what you do with Harden. This is James fucking Harden. You've been watching him since you were a fucking kid. Like, here's what you do. Here's how to do it. Like, let's go. That should be on like Dwayne Jones and those kinds of assistants being like, he's too talented defensively to not play. And Doc has to recognize that he's too talented defensively to just like banish him, because he's eventually going to be good somewhere when a team figures out how to use him and can survive the like occasional weirdness. I mean, Andre Drummond has those weirdnesses. Like, it's just he's too good not to play, and it's going to be upsetting to see that. Not that I'm upset about Millsap. I like the jumper. Obviously, Millsap's the better shooter and the better offensive player at this point. But
just weird that he couldn't get on the court for the Nets. You know,
yeah, they also
how much he has left.
They also weirdly have a bunch of those kinds of bigs. They already have Blake. They had Aldridge when he came back. Nick Claxton is good. They seem to want to like get rid of him, which is bizarre to me, because I think he's a real rotation player in the league. They like the kid from UNC, Day'Ron Sharp. So they have a bunch of them also, and it's just, I think they're in a weird like small point guards and weird centers mix.
I have a surprise at the end of this DraftKings thing. A big surprise. Mike, you're going to be thrilled, actually. Big surprise at the end of DraftKings. Just a quick odds check for the Sixers. Embiid still sitting at he was the MVP favorite going into the All-Star break at plus 140. He is now plus 130. Doc Rivers still at plus 6,000 for Coach of the Year. And then the Sixers still sitting at plus 700 to win the championship. Fourth lowest odds rather. Suns at plus 380, Nets at plus 450, Warriors at plus 450, Sixers at plus 700. Sixers shorter odds than the Bucks, which is fucking lunacy to me, I think. But I'll take it. It's just, man, what a wild fucking year it's going to be. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. They got a great deal for new customers. Bet $1 on any team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That simple. Bet $1 on any team, any NBA team, get $150 in free bets if they win. And don't worry, if the sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can still play along with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. Big cash prizes, free shots at millions of bucks with DraftKings Fantasy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS. Bet $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code RTRS at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and older, restrictions apply. See show notes for details. That's the whole thing.
Show notes.
The whole disclaimer. See show notes for details.
There you go.
You like that? I thought you'd be fucking thrilled about that.
Over the moon, Spike.
I'm a little disappointed, to be quite honest with you.
I've never had anyone expect me to be more thrilled by saying show notes.
Well, it's shorter. Remember, I had to talk about Indiana and New Jersey.
Sure.
Don't worry,
Don't
there's
care
more.
about Indiana.
When we're doing MortgageCS later, they have. Don't
Good.
worry, there's more.
There can only be one.
And final email, this comes from Eric. I love the Harden trade, would make it over and over again with the same pieces, but I have a hard time reconciling your blasé attitude with the loss of Drummond, with all of our long memories about what happened when Joel was off the floor against Toronto 3 years ago. Drummond, for all of his flaws, was an above-average backup center, probably in the top 5 all year, yada, yada, yada. It's interesting that the Nets push for Drummond as part of the package. I wonder if it's as much to hurt the Sixers as help themselves. Of course, you don't hold up the Harden acquisition over Drummond. I would just like to posit that the reason they had trouble with Embiid off the floor was because they did not have an appropriate player to handle the offense when he's off the floor. It is more about that than it is about a backup center. When you think about the best players on teams, you don't think about how awesome they're, like, wow, they had such an appropriate backup for LeBron or Chris Paul, or I don't know. I don't, if they're winning a championship, he's playing 37, 38 minutes a game. And I just don't think they're going to lose the game in that 7 minutes because, Paul Millsap's on the floor, not Andre Drummond.
So I think two things. I think definitely having Harden, Will, and Doc committing to not just playing an all-bench lineup and staggering Harden and Embiid, so Harden is carrying that second unit, maybe Harden and Maxey, maybe Harden, Maxey, and Tobias. I think that will help for sure. But they did have a good team in the Jimmy Butler season, and obviously Jimmy Butler has gotten, I think, better and better utilized in Miami, but they should have survived those non-Embiid minutes with those guys more. And it was a failure of that front office to have such bad backup centers. Like, I think if that team had Paul Millsap or honestly Willie Cauley-Stein or honestly B-Ball Paul or Charles Bassey, who I, obviously believe in more than most and believe in to contribute positively as young guys more than most, I think that they would have at least advanced because of how they were a minus 90 in those minutes. And I think Embiid's so good that you're never going to have anybody play him even, although Drummond had a good, most of the season backing him up, and some of that was noise, whatever. But he was definitely good during the regular season, and our biggest concern was in the playoffs, could he hold up? We'll see how that happens for Brooklyn if they're depending on him for a while. But I think they should, it has been a problem. It objectively has been a problem. Playoff non-Embiid minutes. Harden will mitigate some of that, but some of that is are these guys going to be able to hold up enough? And Doc's going to have his pick of these 4 players to run with. There is no version. I mean, unless you count B-Ball Paul as basketball Paul as a small ball 5, which he is because he can shoot a little bit. But there's no version of like Tobias, Matisse, Danny as the centers. Like you need to play one of those guys because without Ben, you're just not even gonna have a chance. They never like cultivated Ben as a small ball 5. Part of that was on Ben. Part of that was on the coaching staff and front office for never like really committing to it. But they definitely don't have that now. You can't be expecting Tobias to stop fucking anybody inside. So they're gonna have to do it. But I agree it's a concern. But it also for me would have been a concern with Drummond because, as you saw with the Lakers last year, he has been ineffective at times in the playoffs and during the season. But he was playing well. Like they're gonna miss him. They definitely miss him. Drummond is a better option than almost all these guys, even at their best. But it might have been a concern with him here anyway.
Well, we are going to welcome a good friend of the Ricky. I think has more appearances on the Ricky than any other guest, I would say. That is one Amos Lee.
Ah,
Welcome. Oh wait, you're low.
oh, how's that?
There you go. I said you didn't have to be close to the mic.
Bitch.
There you go.
Hey man,
What's up, dude?
Just straight chilling, man.
New
Straight-
album. Did you ever think about calling it Dreamland instead of Dreamland?
Dreamville,
Dreamville. That'd be
Yeah.
good.
something.
Dreamtown.
Suburbs of Dream.
Absolutely. It's excellent. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
what
you.
what does it feel like? What's like your look? I think you're great. But
Every time I've had someone break up with me, that's how it starts.
that's what this is. But just like Harden, you're not on the upswing of your prime. Like you've been doing this a long time.
Some would say that I'm right in the sweet spot.
I agree that there's a sweet spot. This isn't a commit. This isn't a comment on your art so much as like you've been doing this a while.
Ageism on the Ricky already.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
under the 30 seconds and I'm
Yep.
getting called
Look,
old.
No interest. Once you're 30, get out of here. How does it feel at this point? Like putting out a record that when you've done it so many times already.
Yeah. Well, this one's particularly weird because it was done for 2 years.
Oh,
you
really?
know? Yeah. This was done like right as COVID started to make its way over to us. We were mastering the record. So it's been a long wait. We were going to put it out last year. And it just, we were like, well, why not just wait so we can tour behind the record? Because that's kind of the whole point of recording.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point about being old, it's reasonable. It's a reasonable thing. I mean, I think that we all feel that, especially. And the weird thing is in context of sports where like, Spike and I are like, come on, Tom Brady, one more year so we don't feel like total jerk offs and old guys. But yeah, man, it was cool. I mean, I'm happy to release music anytime. It's awesome. It's like a crazy dream that I've been living through for 15 years. So it's awesome.
Are there nerves behind it, or at this point you're like, I know what I do, the fans know what I do, like?
Yeah, man, I'm just doing my shit at this point.
Cool.
But it's more like,
If you said you were nervous, I would have assumed you were lying anyway.
yeah, no, I wasn't nervous at all. But it's the industry. My industry has changed so much over the last even 5 years or 10 years. To like when I was talking to my manager Perry, who will be listening to this, and he listened to your Daryl Morey episode, and he's very impressed by you guys. Just saying, and he's a Heat fan, so
Huge Heat fan.
yeah, like
The biggest.
yeah, he's the biggest Heat fan. He's on all the blogs for sure.
Like a real douchey prick about being a Heat fan. Right? I mean,
he has culture and tattooed on his stomach, right?
yeah. Like Tupac.
We were talking about like my first record in 2005 that came out, and Starbucks bought 70,000 copies of that record.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just such a different time. And, with the DSPs, with the streaming services, frankly, you guys are more of a draw than I am. A podcast is more valuable to them than a record is. So it's just it's like being an old ball player, Mike, which I'm sure you can relate to, like you start chilling out by the 3-point line a little bit more. I know that you're like you're like a grinder. I feel like you're the dude who plays D like shit, like hella fucking D.
Wrestling coach.
Are you out here right now?
I am back and forth. I'm in and out a bunch. Yeah. I've actually been doing some shows. I was just in Mexico.
I was in Mexico.
Were you?
Yeah.
Were you the guy who was at the club?
Yes. That's right.
What were you doing? Were you vacay?
For a friend's birthday, we went to Rosarito. Drove
Beautiful.
to Rosarito for the weekend.
Damn. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've never driven in a foreign country before.
Were you driving in the wrong? Do you have to drive on the wrong side in Mexico?
No, same side of the road,
okay.
unless I was fucking it up. This was the first time I left the country since 2008, since my sister's wedding in 2008.
What?
Since the George W. Bush administration, which is pretty wild. Yeah, got to get out there.
Before we talk to you more about other stuff, obviously you're a friend of the Ricky, but you have a friend named Tony to who has a podcast with Tommy from Down the Shore, the Hoagie Hour. He's obviously been a big thing for our listeners. They've been wondering where he is, but the rumor has it he's actually living with you now. Is he there?
I think he would say he's staying with me.
Okay. would he? I mean, do you think we could talk to him?
You want to see him?
I would love to.
You need to mute me probably because he's gonna be a little difficult for a second. So I don't want to hear.
CJ, could you mute Amos?
Listen to this podcast. So hold on one second.
This is the first time anyone's seen Tony T on the pod. We've heard him, obviously. We've heard him and Tommy from Down the Shore, but this is the first time. And this is, if there was ever an excuse to watch on YouTube or Spotify, this next 5 minutes, I believe, will be the excuse.
And I just want to say before we meet Tony T, that Amos is very successful. He's had a nice long career doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yep.
I don't think he's ever really sold out, at least would be my impression of it. He just like does his thing.
Yep.
He's just like a veteran basketball player, just like continuing to get paid to do exactly what they do. He's Danny Green. And now here he comes. Here's Tony T spending time with us on the podcast.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, what's up, Earthlings? How you doing, bro?
We're doing all right. How are you?
I'm shitty, man. Shitty as always. Shitty as shitty comes, bro.
What happened, Tone? Why are you shitty?
Yeah.
Well, look, man, it's been a long fucking road, cause last year was very, very tough on me. Lost a lot of buddies. So, you just want the long story or the short one?
Well, I mean, I think the long one. I heard it all started with a female, as it normally does with you.
Yeah, as always. It was November 2020, right? And, nothing was going on, like early November 2020, just chilling. No fucking bullshit going on. Sitting at home in Philly, trying to fucking chill. But, look, you got to stop laughing, man. I can't fucking tell my story.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Think I'm an asshole?
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay,
no.
So look.
No. Sorry.
I'm going on Tinder, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm going to buy the expensive Tinder, the like $30 one.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm taking a trip. Meet a girl named Tiffany, hot ass girl, lives in Phoenix, right?
Okay.
Haul out, get on a plane, haul out there, chill. She picks me up at the airport, right? She's wearing a long robe, white robe. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? So she's wearing a long robe, gets in a van with all these weird dudes, right? Drives me out to a farm. I'm like, bro, I'm on a fucking cult now, right? But honest, it was awesome. It was fucking awesome.
Really?
You ever do plant medicine?
No.
Mike,
I don't know that I have.
you never did like ayahuasca?
No.
You live in LA, dude. You got to do ayahuasca.
All right, I'll do it with you, Tone. You come out. You stay with me.
Only thing is, you shit and puke all over.
Right. I've heard that.
Can I come over then?
Yeah.
We'll do that at your house.
Yeah. We'll have a designated room for it.
You got a backyard?
Yeah.
All right. So we're doing plant medicine, right?
Right.
It's fucking stupid, man. Like geometry, trigonometry, astronomy. Everyone's an alien, you know?
Yep.
We're just doing like Molly and shrooms and fucking everything, right? It's fucking crazy, bro. Then these dudes show up in a van. It's like Christmas.
Okay.
On Christmas.
Yeah.
These dudes show up.
It's Christmas for you or for them? You're saying it's actually Christmas.
No, it's like Santa's sucking your own dick. You know what I'm saying? Christmas time, bro.
Okay. Got it.
So like we're hanging out. Christmas time is here and all that shit. These dudes roll up and they're like, road trip.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, okay, road trip. Let's do it. Get in the van. Lots of mushrooms, lots of weed, pills, white stuff, but I ain't going to say what. You know, that weird
It's good
shit.
that you're using some discretion now.
Yep.
Just a little.
Mm-hmm.
And we drive, bro, all through the plains. Winter, beautiful. You know, long ass drive. It's like a week. We left like right around New Year's. Get to where we're going, right? I'm still high as the sky, bro. These assholes pull up at the hotel. Where are we at?
Philly.
DC.
Close.
January 5th, bro.
Oh, no. Amos. Tony, Amos should have stopped you from doing this.
January 5th, we roll up. Party, fucking like the USA. It's crazy out there, bro.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, what are we doing? There's like old men wearing fucking G.I. Joe outfits and shit. People being crazy. I'm like, bro, I'm going back to the hotel, bro. So I go back to the hotel. These
Good move.
fools, yo, they all got fucking locked up.
Oh, yep. I heard about that.
Trying to fucking shit on people's desks and shit in the Capitol, fucking assholes.
And that's your ride.
That's my ride, dude. So, like, I got to get on the Biden Express, get on the Amtrak, go back to Philly. Go back to Philly. But at this point, man, I'm lost, bro. You know? I ain't never wearing clothes again. I'm a naturist, bro. 100%. Never going back. Except when I got to go to the store. So I do my shit. I go back home. My aunt kicks me out. I got to go back up to New York, right? Who do I meet?
Who?
When I'm shopping for crystals?
Tiffany.
Nah, Tiffany, she's gone, bro. She's in jail.
Okay, my bad.
I'm shopping for crystals, New York City. Meet your boy. Speaking truth, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, no.
And we're just like, we hit it off immediately, bro.
Who talked to who first?
I went up to him.
Sure.
I'm like, bro, you got truth, bro. You got all the wisdom. So we hit it off. He invites me to a party. We chill. You've ever done like cuddle parties?
No.
I haven't.
Pajamas. It's like pajamas and you just hold people.
No.
Cuddle.
You were doing that with Kyrie.
No, man, no.
No.
But they was all doing it. So I went there, chilled out, smoked some weed, went home. But like next day I call Kai. I'm like, bro, we got to do something. Make a movie. So we're making a kids movie, me and him, called Me and Kai. And I made a little song for you.
A song with about Kyrie, about your time.
Yeah, it's like for the movie.
Okay. All right. Could you play it for us?
Well, you's got to play it.
Yeah,
I sent it to
yeah.
your boy,
Of course. Yeah.
that other guy who's on here, whoever's
Right.
that. Who's
Right.
that guy? Me and Kyrie. We're a couple cool cats. We both
know the truth that the earth's really flat. Flat, no curve. Me and Kyrie. Yo, we're best friends. We both know that Antarctica is where the world ends. Yo, me and Kyrie. And KD makes 3. We're having cuddle parties on the Lower East Side. Don't tread on me. Yo, don't tread on me. Me and Kyrie. We make a good team.
Oh no.
We like sitting at home burning sage with no vaccines. Fuck them vaccines, asshole.
Tony, do you have pants on? I could have sworn I just saw.
I'm a naturist. And let me tell you something too. I am vaccinated.
Okay.
I got all of them. All
right.
4 of them.
Okay. 4.
Yeah, I had to get all 4.
Okay. It was great to see you, man.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for having me on. You know, yous are cool. Tommy and me were like, he's mad at me for like getting in all that shit, but like I didn't know. I was just high.
Yeah, well, you can't. He had it hid out in his basement, down the shore the entire time. You ended up in D.C. on January 5th.
Hey, look, man, it wasn't my fault. Blame that dude with the Viking hat. He's who took me.
Right. Okay.
I think Tommy might have just been upset that he wasn't included in the movie.
No, he's in it, bro.
Oh, he's in it.
Yeah, he's in it.
Good.
All right, Tommy.
All right, good chat, man.
Or Tony.
Yeah, good
Tony.
seeing you guys, man. Maybe down the road when you guys do the fucking championship parade.
Yes, you can be there.
Cool.
Go on. As we wait for Amos, we'll talk about our other sponsor who never thought they would be involved in something like this. That is our newest sponsor, MortgageCS. Oh my God. You might need a mortgage if you're buying a house, if you're refinancing, if you're consolidating debt. There's a lot of things you can just Google, right? You can Google, you can find it. Store down the street. You know, maybe if you need a fucking roofer, I Googled it. You don't want to just Google a mortgage place because you wind up with like Lending Tree. What is that? Well, you type in your name. They send your name and your contact information to tons of lenders who never leave you alone, and their only goal is to pressure you into a mortgage. That's where MortgageCS is different. They are small, 9 total people. They are independent. They are beholden to no lender, and their only goal is to be with you through the entire process of getting a mortgage. I know this because I bought a house and twice sold a house. Mike just bought a house. There's a time when you could need your mortgage guy like 9 o'clock at night. Hey, I need a pre-qualification letter. Hey, I have a question. Hey, I don't understand this. Hey, what's the difference between APR and the regular rate?
Hey, I flew to Phoenix and then I got driven to a fascist rally in DC and I need to ride back to Philly. Call him.
MortgageCS is that. Their goal is to lead you through the mortgage process and be there for you whenever you need them. Proof right now, call or text their CEO, Ben, anytime. 267-391-7425. Try it right now. Try calling or texting right now, 267-391-7425. They are there for you whenever you need them. They're not going to pressure you. Like, they're there to be your partner through the entire thing. And again, they're not a bank, so they don't have to go to any one lender. They can make sure they're getting you the best deal they can. It's not about just having the best rate. It's about having a good partner, and MortgageCS is your partner. Approved by Adam Kasabi, by the way. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. mortgagecs.com/Ricky. See the awesome website they gave us too. Or call or text their CEO, Ben, at 267-391-7425. Just mention you are a Ricky listener and they'll take care of you. MortgageCS has more than 200 5-star reviews. Again, mortgagecs.com/Ricky or their CEO, Ben, at 267-391-7425. The MortgageCS disclaimer. The advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker and arranges loans with third-party providers and does not make any mortgage loan commitments or fund any mortgage loans. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. The information is presented for informational purposes by Rates for Us LLC, DBA MortgageCS, Company NMLS 146766, licensed by the PA Department of Banking and NJ Department of Banking and Insurance. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. Ben Stucker, NMLS ID number 168345. You like that?
That was the most radio we've ever been.
How about Tony T almost being involved in the January 6th insurrection? Boy, what a close call that was.
What can I say, man? I'm so glad that he wasn't,
Yeah.
Like, he definitely was running with the wrong crowd, but, drugs do bad things sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So fucking strange.
Truly ridiculous podcast you guys run here, I have to say.
That's on us.
It's definitely on us. So I we were talking about the process of releasing a record, which is different than it was. Not only did you sit on it for 2 years, but there's this weird thing where it's this extended promotion of the album where songs are released throughout the promotion, and then the album finally comes out. Does it feel like sort of
anticlimactic?
Yeah, like because it comes out and there's no stores or anything like that. It's great because you can listen to it right away, but I wonder if that build-up sort of changes it for you.
It's fine. I mean, honestly, dude, I'm just grateful for the career I had before that last segment, You
wanted to do it. It was all
ridiculous.
you.
I welcome this circus to town, man. Like, we live in very strange times.
We do.
You have to, honestly, as Mike would probably say more than any of us, you have to laugh at this shit because it's just so ludicrous and outrageous. It's like being a Sixers fan.
Are you still
a Sixers fan?
Yeah.
I'm definitely a Joel Embiid fan. I like Maxey a lot too. I'm excited for Willie Cauley-Stein.
There you go. You're a true Sixers fan.
Yeah. What took you down the path of maybe not being a full Sixers fan anymore?
Last year sucked. Like that team just, between the big dude Horford team, which I came on this podcast and remember saying that might work. It sure as fuck did not. And just, man, I mean, it's just been a shit show forever. And then you had the guy who didn't and won't shoot, sit out and just make everything really difficult. It's isn't life shitty enough? Don't we want our sports teams to be sort of fun?
Yeah.
So I'm excited. This week should be, I will watch Friday night and be excited.
Mm-hmm.
But watch Joel's going to be like a DNP coach's rest or something like that.
I wonder how he's going to handle having another guy running shit. They will be in that beginning dating stage where you don't want to go to the bathroom when the other one is home and you don't fart in front of the other one and all of that in the beginning. I'm curious to see how it evolves from then,
We'll see. It's more exciting than not. That's
for sure.
That's the way I feel about it. It was cool to listen to Daryl too talk about it.
Yeah. What kind of basketball do you like watching? What brand of basketball, not player specific?
I'm sort of it's hard to not like watching that Warriors team play. They're fun. I actually really liked watching the Cavs play. They were fun. They're a really fun team to watch play. I like ball movement. I like the modern NBA is a little bit too free flowing for me. I remember really enjoying watching some of the 90s teams play, even the grindy, nasty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of really enjoyed those Knicks teams. For me, were kind of fun, especially in the playoffs. I want some feisty shit. I want feisty ass basketball. That's what I really love. That's why the playoffs for me are way more interesting. I'll watch a regular season game, but I also know I'm getting 70%. like you're getting a 70% product. And sometimes the Sixers are fun. When Joel is freaking out like this year, it's a blast. Like that dude does stuff that I've never seen any other basketball player ever do in history. And that's actually not a hyperbole. Like a 7 foot whatever. I know we say 7'2". I'm not sure. That might be a little Andre the Giant ting him.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to watch his fluidity and a guy his size take the ball up court like it's nothing is like, I love it.
Where do you stand on Matisse?
I think I probably stand where we all stand, which is like wishing every shot goes in, but knowing that it's not.
Good way to describe it, I think.
Yeah, that's what every time I watch him, I'm like, that. What was the guy, Thabo Cephalosha?
Yeah.
Like, I would love if he was that. That would be cool. And there are times when he's playing defense where you're like, game wrecker. Like, this dude is insane. And there are times like, when was it last week? Well, the Boston game was not his best game, but it was nobody's best game. But there are times when I watch him on defense where he looks a little bit like off balance and he's not completely locked in, but then he plays Steph Curry like a champ. And I stand on I like him. I think he's interesting, but if he's going to go 1 for 7 from 3, I don't think he's playable.
Sure. I'm going to separate my shoulder trying to reach for this musical analogy, but is there some, he's so good at one thing and so bad at another.
Right.
And is there a musical equivalent to that? To find someone who's like, wow, you're this good at this, but really almost hopeless at this other thing.
Wow. Let me think about that. There are people who are really great, singers. You can sing a song, but really in the context of singing with other people, it doesn't really work because it is an organic experience ultimately. And I think that's you get a lot of those guitar store folks who in the guitar store, they crush, they're just and you're like, oh dude, you're really good. And you put them in the context of a band on the road and things are evolving and you have to listen and understand your parts. It gets a little more complicated and you kind of see that you'd rather have someone who's more versatile than someone who's more specific.
Can I go back to the record for a couple of questions?
Yeah, of course.
So the opening track of the song, it's weird to hear you sing songs and know you and wonder where it came from. You do that with I think when you don't have any relationship with the singer, you can sort of make it about whatever you want. But then when you know them, you think about it differently. And I thought the opening track is such an interesting tune, right? Because the title track, because it is so full of hope on some of it and so full of doubt otherwise. And it just seems almost like a letter to yourself, like a journal Dreamland does. I was wondering where the song, where it came from.
Yeah. So I wrote that song with a woman in Los Angeles named Jen DeSilvia, who wrote that song Rise Up. Do you know that song with Andra Day? I'll rise up. Beautiful song. She's cool. Jen's awesome. Great songwriter, really cool person. We were just kind of talking about the experience of, and this was before all of this madness. Not all of the madness. Some of the madness has been forever, but the last couple of years have kind of magnified the madness. We were talking mostly about her experiences being involved in the industry and how it kind of gets just very vapid and vapory really quickly. And, when you're a person who generally works on your own and, a writer or especially a writer, you do most of your work alone. And then you're kind of thrown into these industry situations where you're I don't know what any of this is. No one makes sense to me. This situation makes no sense to me. So we sort of went on that, but on a broader level, it's really just, it's kind of changed meanings to me a bunch of times because I can think about, a world where a song like that is about the information systems that we have around us, and how everyone can sort of have the same experience and a different understanding of what it means, and how we're creating meaning in our own experiences, and sort of how it's just foggy and strange to exist in a world where information is not more universal than particularly singular.
Like even the sound of it is both like bright and epic, and also like menacing in some way. Sometimes there are songs that I think it's that point in the movie. If the movie's an hour and a half, it's an hour and 4 minutes in, and the protagonist has just gone through this huge thing, and they need to take a walk in the rain and think about how they're going to approach the final 26 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's what that song feels like to me.
Yeah, it's like the pre-denouement montage scene.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool song, man. It's a really cool tune.
Yeah, it's fun. The interesting thing about recording, and this record was made with a guy named Leggy Langdon, who really put a lot of energy and talent into the musical side of this, is that things get transformed. And I imagine that a script is the same way, or, Spike, I think not to just try to tie everything together, but I do think it's interesting when you're a talent developer more than anything, right? Like you understand how someone can become something greater. And that's what these songs are in the studio with Leggy. So I give most of the credit, this is like when you ask someone, like after a game, like, how do you feel about scoring 37 points? Like, well, my teammates, my teammates are great. My coaches are great. I do love the way Joel speaks. Like the way that his language comes out is so beautiful to me. Like, I just love the lilt of it. It's probably because of the French, but man, it's so cool the way he speaks. I love it. And I'm glad he finally healed from my handshake, Spike. I think that's really what happened.
One of the most that right before the Super Bowl, I'm sure the diehards have heard this story, but not everybody has. I was with Amos at the Eagles Super Bowl, and Amos knew a guy and got us into this weird, like, high-end tailgate, and somehow we wandered into the high-end area of the high-end tailgate, and we're walking through it, and Amos disappears behind me, and had seen Joel Embiid, and I turned and Justin Anderson,
yes,
they were together with the bodyguard, and I turn around, and Amos is like in Embiid's face, sort of just telling him he's fucking awesome, basically, like just totally geeking out. And they go to like shake hands, and this was when Embiid had an injured hand, and Amos did it too hard, and Embiid like basically gave him the "what the fuck are you doing?"
Oh my god!
And you can see in the photo, Embiid is not smiling at all.
Yeah, he was not happy with me. That's just the way shit goes for me, dude. Honestly, it's just the way shit goes.
But then they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Yeah. I don't even know where we were. So when I guess we're jumping around a little bit. You said the albums sat around for a couple of years. I wonder, so I think the last time I saw you in person, I got a haircut in the backyard of a deep Jersey house that you were renting.
Pine Barrens.
Yeah. And it was, and like you were really, a lot of people were alone during this, but it seemed like you were by yourself like a lot.
You can tell why.
What? You had Tony, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I wonder what it's like to finish a record and then go through that and just have it sitting there.
I mean, it was a rough year, dude. In some ways, there were, I'm not going to say positives, but like, so at the end of 2020, my mom got COVID really bad and was in the hospital, and I was able to be home and be with her then. And she also got a cancer diagnosis. And so I was able to be home with her through her chemo treatments and just be able to be around and be supportive and helpful. So in some ways, I mean, loneliness part of it is just part of being a writer, honestly. Like I don't know many writers who don't have that element to their personality, where they're sort of always, there's a corner of the room that's always empty, and that's where they have to go to create. But the 2020, the 2021 year was just like really me investing in my relationships with my family again, and just trying to like get better as a person, get more, I'm old now, obviously, as was stated earlier. So you have to, when you're old, you do have to start taking responsibility for like a lot of stuff. And to
it sucks.
It does suck, but
Yeah.
it's also awesome because like I am a more like balanced person, even though you wouldn't be able to tell that from this podcast. I feel pretty like grateful for so much stuff, man. Like being able to have that time at home with my family, and also to be able to like live through a pandemic and have electricity and food deliveries and all of this stuff. And, it's been a really life altering few years. And, my ultimate feeling through all of it is gratitude.
How's your mom doing?
She's hanging in there, man. I mean, that stuff takes its toll on you, and the chemo is, I did a deep dive on what Taxol is and all this stuff. So it was heavy, but she's such a strong human being. And, I would drive her to Penn for her treatments, and, we would get some quality time together. It was the most time I've spent with her in decades, because I went away to college, and then after college I started running around doing this crazy stuff. So it was really nice. It was really, really nice to be able to reconnect and establish relationships again that are like, I know everything about your life again. Mm-hmm. It's cool. She's hanging in there, man. She's doing pretty well. She's still doing some treatments. The kind of cancer she had required a longer treatment than the one she had previously, but she's doing well, man. She's hanging in there. She's taking care of my nieces, who are funny and wild and sweet. So yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, she's doing good.
That's good, man. Do you send her the album ahead of time? Like, did she?
Yeah.
Do you like people closest to you? Do you like ever watch them listen to the song, and
No.
What do you ask? No, never.
God,
take
no.
it alone.
I would prefer that they listen to it on their own. I would, I find it, I don't even like the experience of being like, we used to do these things back in the day, and Spike knows this from his radio days, where we would do these like listening parties where you would invite all the radio people into the room, and you like listen to that shit is like the worst.
By the way, it's not cool for the radio people either. Like,
no,
I thank God I don't have to listen to a new album with the person sitting right there and have to make a face,
right. Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
The worst. No, it's fine, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't care. Yeah. So I just send them a link, and it was
what is her like? Does she ever give like a thought? Like, what is?
She gives
she
gives many thoughts. It trickles out over time, like she'll listen to it at first, and I kind of knew that this album was, for her especially, was not going to be a first listen love, because sonically it's very different. Like, she's used to hearing me with a guitar, and she likes that kind of thing. So I knew it was going to take a little while to break through, but she always gets the songs, and she's into it, like, she's my mom, dude. Like, your parents are proud of you. They're in your cult. You know what I mean? Like, they can't help it. So it was cool. I mean, she likes the record. I think it's going to be interesting to play these songs live for her and for people, because the getting them off the page is going to be really fun and interesting. And so many people have been so long in their lives without live music that I think it's going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, you've been on and off, sort of. You're coming back to the Met on April 15th, which is an amazing place to see a show in Philly. If people haven't been. You've done some touring and, and gone back. I wonder what that feeling is like, both for you being on stage in front of people, but what you take from the people who are there, like what the feeling and emotion is from the people who are at the shows.
Yeah, so this changed for me a lot. So in the beginning of my career, I think I was just sort of like flummoxed by everything. Like, why are these people here to see me? You know how it is being from Philly. You kind of have a deep hatred of yourself. I mean, that's just how it goes. But you learn to get over it in time and to sort of like come to this conclusion of, I'm here to serve people ultimately with this music. And it took a couple really powerful people to come into my life to help me realize that. And one of those stories is this family from Boston that came out and were after a show and told me about their son, Jack, a 10-year-old boy who passed away, and that they listened to my record a lot, sort of getting through the grieving process. And that was a huge wake-up call for me to go, okay, every night when I take the stage, there might be someone in the crowd who's doing that and who's feeling that and needing that. And because that is where they're coming from, I have to come from that place every single night. So that's sort of how I approach it now. I really approach it from a place of gratitude and service. Like, obviously, the nooks and crannies of it sometimes are just, it's travel. You're traveling, you're living on a bus, you're in a city you don't necessarily want to be in. You may be in a bad mood and you can't go home and curl up on the couch, and you just got to power through.
Like a basketball player.
Like, honestly, dude, I think about that a lot when I watch sports, because even though those guys are traveling in very kind of easy ways, it's still hard. Mm-hmm. Like, you're still not home. You're still like dealing with the minutia of travel. Like, you go to a breakfast place and they, you don't want to be there, whatever it is. There's so many little things during the day that can just get under your skin. But when it comes time to sing or play, it's really just about the intention of service and the love of what I do. And so that's changed. That's definitely changed over the years. And to bring it back to sports, I hear this Spike talk about this a lot, which is like where your age physically meets your age psychologically or emotionally. And that's so important. And, Embiid is an interesting player because in a lot of ways, he's been emotionally mature in a lot of ways. And this year, it just all came together. Mm-hmm. Like, every bit of it has seemed to come together. And to Spike's point, it'll be interesting to see how having another like very ball forward guy on the team or scoring option is going to affect that flow that he has with this team. I think it'll be really interesting to see. I think he's going to adapt to it really well. And he's such a versatile cat that, like, I mean, truly, this is Iverson, Barkley, Embiid. Like, it's just a joy to watch the guy play the game, and in the same way, like in that you never know what he's going to do, and he's going to do something awesome kind of way. So, and musically, it's kind of the same way. I think that you have to get to a place where your emotional self and your physical self can kind of find each other. And, fortunately for music, if you take care of yourself, it can last longer than an athlete, but not much longer. So,
yeah, I mean, I look at with those two guys, they both suffered such basketball heartbreak and frustration with, pairings that didn't work out. Obviously, Embiid's was a very long running one. But guys that like slipping through their fingers, like could have been the like 0 for whatever, 26, 27 threes, 27 straight threes missed in for Houston. Like those kinds of moments. And you hope that now that Embiid's playing this well, Harden is towards the end of his prime, if not on the way out of it. You hope that it's like they want to be with each other and they want to like sacrifice and they want to make it work. And they're both good enough still and mature enough. And with the understanding of like, they don't get that many shots. You don't get that many chances. They both have had chances and for whatever reason, sometimes their fault, like they didn't get all the way there. And I hope that like there is a feeling of like we can if we can lean on each other and do this together. And I'm obviously the optimist in this situation, but
not lately.
Well, it's been a tough time.
Yeah, on and off optimism.
Tough time. But now that they got him, it's like, okay.
You ramp up quickly
Ramp up. I don't even need a ramp up.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a very excited Mike for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Friday night will be wild. You keep making jokes that it's easy to make them about getting old. I really don't think it's that bad. I actually kind of like it. I enjoy life at 45. There's the weird physical shit that happens, and all of a sudden I have to get a colonoscopy every year. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, like I sprained my ankle in my sleep.
Yeah. Why does my neck hurt? Like, why does my neck? Because I slept with a hoodie. On, so my neck hurts.
Yeah.
But the calm and the knowledge that comes with it. I know it sounds crazy, but you really do understand more about shit the older that you get, and it is nice to you don't know 1/1,000,000th of what you would like to know, but man, it feels better to know more than you did 10 years before or something like that. It's really not that bad.
Well, I want to agree fully with you, and there are parts of it that I definitely agree with. Like, if it was a Christmas tree, I would be like, "Yeah, that's right, that's right."
Yeah, right.
Shit on top ain't the same.
Right. Last thing on the album for me is like, I have an unspoken sort of like Amos Lee Mount Rushmore of songs, but I think Seeing Ghosts is going to be there. Could you just, where did it come from? I know it's a sort of a dumb radio DJ question, but
I don't think it's dumb. I think it's reasonable. It's kind of in the same world of Dreamland, which is like feeling part of something and also maybe not a part of anything. And it's about, your own personal absence in your experience. And really what I can tell you exactly the genesis of this song is I was in Philly. I was at 20th and Chestnut or something strange, which is where I write most of my songs. So I'm standing on the corner and I'm looking across the street and I see this person who looks exactly like this person I used to be in love with. And I'm like that is just, am I seeing correctly? Like, is that the same person that I remember? Like, would they see me? Would they remember me? Like, how do we exist in our future with so much of the past behind us? And I sort of feel like it's that sort of relationship of, it is really kind of about getting older and reconciling all of your memories with the present and with the future, and trying to find that space where you actually are in that moment existing with other people. And it's a challenge, man. I mean, I've talked on a couple other podcasts about mental health stuff, and anxiety and depression will definitely grab your horns and tear you down and sling you around. So it's sort of that kind of thing, man. I mean, we would need probably really 45 minutes to talk about that song in the entirety, and I've already taken a lot of your time, so I'll come on the Carl and talk about that.
Yeah, I would love to break that. It's just such like it is sort of like Dreamland. It's such like a big and almost spooky.
Yeah, I give
song.
a lot of credit to Leggy for that, man. He's a super talented cat.
What a name.
Talented cat. Yeah, Leggy. Well, his name is Christian Leggy Langdon, but he's very tall, so I think that's why he's named Leggy.
I always worry that I'm liking the wrong songs, so I want to tell you what my two favorite songs in the album are, and you tell me if they're wrong.
There are no wrong songs. Okay, tell me.
I liked Should Have Known Better.
It's a bop.
And I liked Hold You.
Oh, great choice, dude.
Okay.
Fucking fantastic choice.
Those are my two favorite. I love the album. I mean, look, man.
Thanks, man.
You're the best.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Man, hold on. I can do this now.
It's amazing the journey you guys have been through sonically on this podcast.
Well, CJ's going to tell me it means we're going to get a copyright claim on the YouTube video. But
I used to have to wear like a headset. I had like a headset with a little like gaming mic.
Before that, you were just on the phone.
Yeah.
This should have known better.
We've been doing this a long time.
So, all right,
so have you. I'm old. We're old.
Yeah.
You don't do a podcast for friggin' almost 9 years and not be able to be claimed as old.
Yeah, it's true. No, those are good choices, man. No, those are fantastic choices. I mean, Hold You is the song that started the whole record off. It was, we sat in a room together, me and Leggy, and we were talking about like childhood trauma and shit. And it's just like, all right, let's do this. It was cool, man. It was really, hopefully Harden and Embiid will do that with each other.
just hold each other.
Yes.
That's a fanfic for me, for sure. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being yourself.
Man. Of course.
Send our love to your mom, not to your Heat fan manager. And
but by the way, you've had speaking of speaking of manager, you've had you've had 2 separate opening songs for the Ricky. This one's been
you guys got to make a new one, bro.
It might be time.
It is time. It's definitely time. But I did enjoy the episode where you kind of were like, this fucking song sucks. I can't listen to this shit one more time. But we were right.
That's right.
And all along we were fucking right. So fuck off.
It's absolutely poetic, and it is saying it is absolving us of any wrongness. Saying even when we were wrong, we were still right. We got it all, man.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, you guys be well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your podcast. Like, it's one of the very few things I look forward to every week. So you guys are killers.
Thank you. And
man.
tell Tony we said thank you as well.
I will tell that naturist.
Yeah.
See you, pal.
Goodbye.
All right, so Friday, James Harden plays a basketball game for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yep, and we'll have a pod on Saturday morning.
Wild. It's going to be cool.
We had a segment planned for the pod about, somebody asked on Twitter, I think they stole it from some Instagram meme, about who would win, this team or the Butler Sixers. And I didn't bring it up on this pod because I realized we have not seen this current team play. With all of the talk about expectations and so on and so forth, we haven't even seen him play one time, which is
I like the build-up.
Fucking crazy.
The best part.
So we'll talk to you Saturday morning after the first game of James Harden's 76ers career. I'm going to the Nets game tomorrow night. No Ben tomorrow night. Would have been fun to be there for it. But we'll talk to you Saturday morning. Thank you, Amos. The new album is Dreamland. You can stream it everywhere or buy the vinyl. And he is playing the Met in Philly on April 15th. Tax day. It means that Amos will give everyone a refund after the show if they didn't enjoy it. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, like page.